Hey guys, welcome to our weekly live event. As you guys know, I'm Pascal Corcus. It's great to see you all again. We talk about finance, investing, retirement planning, any questions you have about credit, tax returns, and effects of your 401k and withdrawals and any type of new things that are coming out. I'm more than happy to answer if you have any questions. So for those who don't know me, I have a various background. I've worked as a banker at Bank of America. I worked at Citigroup doing anti-money laundering. I worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers as an accountant and worked on Home Depot's taxes, and I did assurance. And I have an accounting firm, an insurance agency, and a mortgage company. I specialize in real estate investment. I have a property management company and real estate construction company. So any questions you have, I'm happy to answer. You think the SBA 10K advance will come back? Actually, if you're talking about the EIDL, it's still active. It's still available. So you can go apply at the SBA.gov. So I'm going to kind of answer this. This is something that actually came up like 3 times today. So today, 3 different times, I was having this conversation with different people about how we're talking about how good, why just settle for good? There really isn't a reason just to settle for good, especially if with the same amount of effort, you can do better than good. You can do great. And I was telling my assistant, I was telling her that good is actually the enemy of great. Because when you have it good, you have it easy, you get used to it, you get comfortable. Things become mundane. And it's very hard to not struggle, but push yourself past good, past middle class, to go for great. And she was actually telling me that was the thing that she admired about me, because good has never been good enough. I'm always looking to make things better and looking forward to the future and how things are going to get better and how we're going to constantly grow. And it's an exciting time, but you have to strive. You have to be persistent and consistent to get there. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that little piece there. And now to your questions. Is it true that closing costs are very high with an FHA loan? The closing costs are high, a little higher with an FHA loan. Are they higher than a standard conventional loan? Yes. And you also have a mortgage insurance as well when you don't put down 20%. And sometimes interest rates are higher as well. So it is higher overall. But the big picture is, did you find a good deal? Because if you're buying a property and you're saving $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $100,000, you're getting a great deal on the purchase price, then paying a little bit more in interest is not a big deal. You can add value, and then you could do a refinance and get better rate in terms. Excuse me. A great question. All right. Hello, I am 19 years old trying to make a company in construction, but I am trying to understand, how does bonds work when you're first started? I need to get a license in plastering, but I need a bond. So bonds are actually really cheap. I mean, you probably can get a bond for like $100 to $500 for the year. And a bond is like insurance, but the difference is there's a company that actually says, we're holding the cash on the side and we will give it to the government when they ask for it. Because normally it's like a government organization that will request the bond, or sometimes it could be a claim that could request a bond. It's a little different than an insurance policy, where in case an insurance policy comes up, then the insurance might pay it after the lawyer reviews the policy, reviews the incident. So bonds are usually required for people in the construction field and engineers and electricians and then different people in the construction field, and most of them actually are required to be licensed and bonded. So yeah, but don't worry, it's not that expensive. No, at least in Florida, I normally see them between $100 to $500 for the year. All right, guys. So just so you know, the question, I answer questions by who's requesting to go live first. Second, who puts in a question on YouTube. Third is whoever puts a question in the question section. And then fourth, I go through the DMs. So the question is, how do I buy my first property? After you study your market and you find that you're in a good market, you have to make sure that your tax returns are in order. Basically, you're showing that you are making money. Now that you've been showing you've been making money for at least a year, preferably 2 years, then you have a consistency of your income. Your W-2s are going to match, showing the amount of income you're bringing in. And say you've said you're making $50,000 a year, your W-2s are showing $4,000 a month roughly. On top of that, you have a decent credit score. I'm going to say 650 plus. The better your credit score, the lower your interest rate. And then lastly, you're going to have money in your bank account, showing that you can have money for the down payment. The minimum down payment is usually 3.5% down plus closing costs. So you're looking at a $200,000 property, $7,000 plus roughly $4,000 in closing costs. What's your religion? I am Syrian Orthodox. So I am Aramaic, which is like the first language. It was the language that Jesus spoke. It was the language before Hebrew. And we are like the first people that converted to Christianity that were not Jewish. So we're the Aramaic people. What to do with 5,000? You can do a lot of things with 5,000. You can start a business. You can start a lawn service, pressure washing business. You can start an online marketing business. You can start a Shopify store. You can buy crypto. You could buy gold, silver, stocks. You can trade. You could do a lot of things with $5,000. The thing is, you got to figure out, what do you like? If you don't enjoy sitting in front of a computer and trading stocks, then you shouldn't be trading stocks. If you aren't patient and can't handle the ups and downs of crypto, you should not be in crypto. Be in what you like. You like working with your hands. Maybe you should do pressure washing. You should do different businesses like that. So you got to find out, what do you like? What's good for you? Just to say hi and thank you for your work on Instagram. You're welcome. What do you look for when you're finding a deal? So what do I look for when I'm finding a deal? I'm looking for upside potential. That's my goal. Because if I want to find a property that's having $700-800 a month rent, maybe $500 a month rent, and I can bring it to $1,000 or $1,200 a month rent. I can add value to it and I can increase the value. Now, I want to make sure that when I'm buying the property, I'm, say, completed, the project's worth $2 million and the remodel budget is $500,000. I don't want to buy it for 1.5, put in 500, and now I'm at what completed value is worth. That's not really what I'm looking for. I mean, if that's what I was saying, if that's the scenario of what I'm looking for, I would look for something that's already completed and to give me those numbers. But if I'm going to do the work, I want to be able to build the equity and have some equity built in when I'm finished with that project, and then also have the increased rents. So I look for increased rents and ability to have equity cushion when I'm done with my remodel. So Julian says, any good tips on what important steps to take when starting a business? For example, pressure washing business. How do I go about my taxes when I'm just starting? So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna choose your name. You're gonna register it with your state. Then you're gonna get an EIN number. At that point, you're gonna get a business checking account and a business credit card. Everything that you do, all money that goes into your company goes into that account. All the money that goes out of your company goes out of those accounts. That is going to make your life so easy when you're doing your taxes, your bookkeeping, your payroll. If you don't do it that way and you start commingling personal accounts with business personal money with business money and using personal checking account and then your business checking account, it's going to make your life a nightmare. So make sure you do that. At that point, it'll be easier to do your books. Initially, you're going to probably have to put in 10K, 5K into that account. So to make sure there's enough money going in and out. Lucy says, hey, Pascal, good to see you. Prices in California have started to go down, just like you said, sir. Guys, today, thank you, Lucy, for pointing that out. I appreciate that. Today, my assistant, she was telling me, she's like, wow, you're a really good salesperson. Because I was on the phone, I was talking about a refinance with one of my longtime clients. His name is JJ. And basically every property that I was about to buy in the cities I wanted to be in, he ended up buying them. So the dude is smart. It's respectable, right? So we talk once in a while as well. And then, I do insurance. I talk about insurance with him. I talk about taxes with them. We're looking at refinances. And so I was explaining to him about refinance options. And he was like, well, I don't know. It costs a lot of money to do a refinance right now because the cash out refis on duplexes to fourplexes, investment property, non-owner occupied. Yo, it's a lot of fees right now, right? I've never seen them this high before. But based off of the fact that you're getting such a reduction on your interest rate that you're basically returning 30% on your investment. So so maybe it cost you $24,000 to do a refi, crazy high. But say you did spend the $24,000, you're making your 30% return on that investment. Where are you going to make 30% return on investment every single year, guaranteed? Nowhere. So I explained that factor, explained the factor that, how property values are going to go down next year. The amount of cash out on your refi is probably going to be reduced. Interest rates might go up. The fact of having the money and reinvesting is well, if I reinvest it, I could probably make 7% cash on my money, a 7 cap property, and let's see if it justifies a property value. I said, great point, JJ, but remember this, the property values are probably going to go down, and you're going to be also the asset will appreciate. And if the Fed said that they are willing to let inflation rise, real estate inflation might be 10% a year. So not just 7% in cash, but 10% in appreciation. That's a 17% appreciation where you're paying 3.5% to borrow this money. That's a great spread. And he's like, yeah, you make a good point. And the last point he said, it was well, how do you know I'm going to get good deals? I'm like, JJ, you bought every single property I was about to buy. So you're obviously doing something good. And he laughed. And she said, hey, you're a really good salesperson because no matter what objection he had, you were able to respond to it. And I told her, I'm not really a good salesperson. I only put myself in the position to do things that I believe in. I believe in real estate. I believe in finance. That's why I learned so much about this industry. And that is why I am, you see that hand there? Magic. It's just a hand. And that's why when I'm talking to people about this, I am confident. I'm only telling you facts. Now, if you want to take the facts, if you want to use these facts, your opinion on these facts, that is up to you. But these are all facts. And this is why I make my assessment. And I told her, I was like, look, if I didn't think it was a great time to do refinances, I wouldn't have gotten into the mortgage industry. I would have waited another year or two. But I think this is an amazing time to refinance. It's an amazing time to be prepared to buy all those deals. So of course, if I'm going to be helping people, educating people, I might as well do the loan too and at least make some money off of it because I love helping everybody. But at the end of the day, I need to make money. I got to support my family too. So this is a way where I can help people and I can make some money too. So thank you, Lucy, for remembering that. And again, guys, LA, New York, Miami, San Francisco, San Diego. Okay, big time. Not because I want it to happen, but because it's going to happen. I'm only calling what's going to happen, not because I want to. Can you turn on the fan, please? I had Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at 6 a.m. And then I did Wing Chun Kung Fu at like 6:30 p.m. So I'm tired. I'm hot and sweaty. I showered once today. I need to shower like 3 times a day because it's a lot. It's hot. It's hot out here. So the voice says, "Hey Pascal, good stuff. As a new real estate investor, I'm investing in 2-bed, 2-bath condos. When will be the best time to bring in a property manager to manage the property? And I focus on more estate or more on real estate." So step one, you guys know I don't like investing in condos. I strongly suggest condos, townhouses, and single family homes. The return on investment is rarely there. 2, it depends on what you do for a living. If you are a professional, a nurse, where you're property managing your property and you're saving $200 a month by doing that, compared to the time you're spending, you could actually just work overtime for 4 hours a month and make the same money. It's better that someone else does that for you and you just do 4 hours of overtime and make the money to pay them, because what doesn't always make sense for you to give up that time. When I was doing it, I was making between $8 to $12 an hour. So for a guy that was only making $8 to $12 an hour, it was just, I could justify doing it myself, you know? So, plus I already had some experience on my side. So it really depends on your scenario and what you're doing. Because if you're already busy and you're making a lot of money, it might not make sense for you to spend your time now. There's a thing that's called highest and best use. So you have to think of the highest and best use of your time, and that's how you're going to determine your return on your investment of time. Because the time is most valuable. Believe that. Time is the most valuable because you cannot make more time. You cannot buy more time. I take like 40 pills a day to increase my recovery time for the different sports that I'm in, and to make my quality of life be really good long in the future. Investing is a long-term game. Warren Buffett's in his 80s still doing it, and I'm competing against a guy like that. So I want to make sure that I'm in tip-top shape when I'm that old and being able to have a great quality of life. All right. Pascal, can you please explain how a 1031 exchange works? Does the taxes need to be paid when you are done buying homes with the 1031 exchange? So 1031 exchange is 1031 tax code, which basically says if you sell, let's just say, a 1 to 4 family property and you bought it for $100,000, you sold it for, let's make it simple, $200,000, and now when you sell it, you apply for 1031 exchange before you close. The 1031 intermediary holds the money in an escrow account, okay? At that point, you're going to identify the new property you're going to buy. You have 45 days to identify the new property. You have 60 days to close on it. At that point, you find a $400,000 property, $800,000 property, whatever. They're going to take that money, and you can use that $200,000 as a down payment for the $800,000 property. Go get a loan for the other $600,000 and continue depreciating and writing off all the deductions and of being a real estate investor. And along the way, say, again, you can do it again and again. Now, part of the tax strategy, you can put it in eventually you're going to have millions of dollars. You can put it into a trust. You can do different things to pass it along to your family with the least amount of taxes. There's also certain things you can do where it's called step up in basis, which basically means when you pass along a property to your family, the point that you die, the property's step up is at the point of the market value when you die, and it passes over to your kids. So hypothetically, if you had a property that you bought for $100,000, and by the time you pass away, it's worth $1 million. When you give it to your kids, and they sell it, they don't have to pay tax on a $900,000 profit because they gave you a step up in basis. So they're selling it for $1 million, and their cost to them would be considered $1 million. So it'd be no tax on that. Again, this is an example of step up in basis. It really depends on your state and your situation. And so you have to have your tax professional look into the details to see how you would work out for you. But these are 2 examples that wealthy people use on how to avoid paying taxes. So good question, Mary. You talk about cost segregation to accelerate depreciation. Does your accounting company support that? So the IRS says when you do a cost segregation model, the person who initially creates the model will be an engineering company. They must be an engineer. The engineer then creates it and it will supply it to the investor. That investor would be my client. The client would then give me the model, and I know how to take that model and put it into the system to properly deduct it given their model and given the current tax code. So yes, we can do that. We do support that, but there still need to be an engineer that performs the model. And normally, if you have a property of about $500,000 and up, it is worth paying money to get the cost segregation done. This is the minimum I'm establishing is on average. It is not every scenario, but normally $500,000 and up works. Now, let me tell you this. Say you own 10 properties and the 10 properties together is $500,000. That will also work. It doesn't have to be one single building worth $500,000. So it can be beneficial to do a cost segregation model for smaller properties as well. Again, it's a case-by-case basis for us to determine that. Sometimes I don't do that just because the person isn't making that much money so for them to have an aggressive depreciation, right? It depends, right? If you're a doctor, a lawyer, if you're in the tech field, if you're making high W-2 earner, or if you own a company and you're bringing in a lot of money and you need the write-offs because you're paying taxes, like I see people that are paying $100,000, $150,000 a year in taxes. They should apply for a cost segregation model because if they can save $150,000 a year in taxes, that's awesome. Great questions today. What's your favorite food? I mean, I like Chick-fil-A spicy chicken deluxe, right? It's number 2. I love the waffle fries. I love ranch. The problem is fried food, ranch, all that salt makes you gain a ton of weight. And, you know, despite it's not horrible for you, it's still not good for you, but I like it.
Chick-fil-A.
Don't judge me.
I do judge you.
I have no rest.
What about lahmacun?
Lahmacun, it's legit. It is very good. Unfortunately, I don't eat that often, so I forget about it. Lahmacun, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you're missing out. Is a restaurant a good investment? A restaurant's a business. So you have to understand that it's only as good as the area you picked, the demographics that is around it, and the operational. Because you can have a great area with great demographics, but have bad operations and it won't work. So if you have it all, then it will make you a lot of money. If you don't, you will lose a lot of money. That's why so many businesses went down during COVID and shut down for good, because it is very expensive to maintain a restaurant. So you need to be prepared. You need to have the money for it. Now, am I willing to buy restaurants, like the buildings? I am willing to buy restaurants because I think there's going to be deep discounts, and I'm willing to buy some good restaurants in good areas, good buildings. And I'm not going to own the restaurant. I'm just going to rent the building out to someone else. All right, trying to accept the live. Hey, what's up, bro?
Hey, what's up? What you talking about? A bunch of business?
Business. And making money.
No, yeah. So what you into? Real estate?
I'm actually into everything. I have crypto, I have silver, I have gold, I have stocks, I have
So
real
you into
estate.
Bitcoins and all that?
Yeah, I have XRP and I have Chainlink.
Okay.
Yeah, that Chainlink tripled up. That Chainlink tripled up this month.
So what you teaching everybody on here, like basically like how to do stocks or something? Like what you teaching?
Basically anything in personal finance. So if you have questions like, my credit went down, why? And I'll ask you questions on like, well, tell me more about your credit history, and I'll tell you how to change it, how to affect it. The bank declined me for a mortgage. Why? I'll ask you questions about your financial situation and give you the answer why they declined you. I have a mortgage company, I have an insurance agency, I have an accounting firm, and basically everything in finance I've done. And I've read almost every finance book out there just because that's like, I love it. It's my thing. I think it paused. All right. So Julian says, how's the training going? Are you ready for the competition? Training's been good. We took off this week. So the week before the competition, we take a break, and then for our body to fully recover to, be ready for the competition. So I'm doing great. I've been still doing Wing Chun, and I'm still doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm feeling really good. I don't really have to knock it out of the park. I mean, it's only half the competition, 1/3 of the competition that normally would show up. And right now at this competition, I'm just trying to put in my numbers to qualify for Worlds. So Worlds is in Georgia in November. So I just need to make sure that I took my total up, bench, squat, and deadlift. The total of those three are high enough to get into Worlds. So that's really the goal. Have fun, be safe, make sure that, don't go crazy to keep everything for November. So it's going to be a fun time. And then I'm going to Portland, Oregon, like 3 hours later. Like competition ends, I'm back home packing, going to Portland. So if you guys are in Portland, let me know. Maybe we'll meet up. So Richard says, hey, Pascal, need to see you. I don't know why I'm reading like that. Haven't had much time to watch your content recently because I'm following your advice. I'm using all of my time making as much money as I can with my side hustles. Thanks. I'm a handyman, but I have gained the confidence to open up a general contracting business in New Jersey. Any advice with economy? If you're good at what you do, you will always have a demand. Now, you might not always get the price that you want, but right now, general contractors and handymen are paid crazy amounts of money compared to how much they used to get paid in the past. So even if it comes down some, I still think you're going to make money. So I wouldn't worry about it. The voice says, thanks, Pascal, for your previous answer. However, could you explain why you don't invest in condos and what you advise as a beginner to invest in? My advice is to buy a duplex, triplex, or quadplex, 2, 3, or 4 units. The reason is when you actually put in your income minus expenses, there's almost no money left. And if the first loan that you get is the easiest loan you're going to get, you should go for a 4-unit property, because 3.5% down of a $400,000 property is only about $14,000 plus $5,000 in closing costs. You're looking at $19,000. Where if you're going to get a condo, it's going to be 3.5% of, say, $100,000. That's $3,500 plus $4,000 in closing costs. That's $7,500. And the margins you're going to make on it are very thin, and most of the time, per month, it's negative. That is why I advise to go 4-plex, because you're actually going to make money. And in a condo, townhouse, or single-family home, you usually do not make any money. Run the numbers. Put it on, piece of paper and pencil. Just run it, and you're going to see that what I'm talking about. I had this guy, he had like 500,000 followers on YouTube, and he's like verified on IG and stuff. And he DM'd me and he's like, hey, look at this condo. What do you think? It's in Arizona, and it's like $75,000. I was like, don't think about it. You're not going to make any money. He's like, what do you mean? I'm going to pay cash for it. I said, watch. Income minus expenses. Very basic, right? Income minus expenses. You take this income, you paid all cash for it. Not even a loan. You put all cash. The net amount at the bottom times 12, you get a number. That number divided by 75,000. He was going to earn maybe about 2% on his money. 2%. I said, why are you going to go through all the hassle? And that means nothing broke and you were at no vacancy at all. Nothing, no vacancy. So that means the odds of you losing money is extremely high. So what are you going to do? Oh, and guess what? Fucker unfollowed me because I gave him good advice that was accurate. So I don't know. Sometimes when people don't get the answer when people don't get the answer they want, they don't like it. So they're just waiting for someone to give them the answer that they want. The issue with that is eventually someone's going to give them the answer that they want, but it's probably a lie. And then someone will end up stealing money from them, or they'll lose a lot of money because that person doesn't know what they're talking about. That's genius. Thanks, bro. You're welcome. All right, let's see what we got here. Hey, what's up? Can you hear me? Lucy says, some people are just not ready for the truth, and it's sad but true. Yeah, so when I say things, I'm only saying the facts. It doesn't mean I will like the answer, but I don't choose a side of like or don't like. I just said, this is what the fact is, and I work with it, and I try to maximize my results based off the facts. Remember, investing is about being optimal. What is the best return on your investment? Yeah, you can put money in a CD and make a return. And in that scenario, it's better if he put his money in a CD than put it into that property because the directions are pointing down for him. And it would have been really bad if he made that investment. But if you're going to put your money somewhere, you're going to look at to move it to what's the highest and best use of the money, depending on your risk tolerance, right? So I have some money in crypto, but it's very risky. So I wouldn't advise people to put all their money there. No, I'd put just enough money that you're willing to lose. With real estate, I got 99% of my money in it because I know it's extremely unlikely I'm going to lose. All right. Robert says, best interest rate on a refinance for a rental property that you have seen in the last few days. 2.75%, 30-year amortization period. It's sick amount of money. But the fees are sick, like expensive. Like I've never seen it this expensive. But at the same time, even though it's expensive, when you look at the amount of money you're going to save, like I got a 4.99% 30-year amortized loan on my fourplex like 2 years ago or a year ago. And that was the best rate possible. Now 2.75%. At 2.75%, even with all the fees and costs, I'm going to recoup my money. I think it cost me $24,000 in fees to do that refinance. Crazy. But I'm going to recoup my money for the amount of money saved in 3 years. That's a 30% return on investment. It's ridiculous. So it's like ridiculously expensive, but ridiculously good. How much is your course? I'm ready to do this for real. Where can I take it? So my course is on IG. Link is in the bio. That's where it is. I think it's like $497. I think it's like $497. I don't really remember, to be honest. Just go check it out. And if you're on YouTube, it's in the comment section. You can find the link there. Robert says, thanks, your course rocks. Thanks, Robert. Honestly, guys, I just put together everything that I learned from all my different mentors, the ones from taxes and credit and banking, mortgages. And I put it all in the course to kind of help you guys. My goal is that everyone's going to learn, everyone's going to be able to grow. Some people are going to grow very large. Hopefully they use my services. And some people will decide, wow, this is a great business. I'm really busy. I don't have the time for it. And I just want to invest and be part of the team. So either way, I'm happy to help. So just let me know how I can help and how I can answer your questions. And I'm happy to. So many comments. What do you think on involving with international real estate? Is it challenging to invest abroad? If you're investing in America, it's not, because the laws are very strong and people know that when they're buying something here, they're protected and they can keep their assets. It's more protected than other countries, right? And you can get loans as well as a foreign investor. Normally you have to put 30% down and then you can get the loan. Also, if anyone's interested in getting information about, taxes, insurance, payroll, bookkeeping, mortgages, refinances, send me a DM. If you're looking to get more information on partnering up on deals in the future, send me a DM. Right now, I don't really advise anybody to buy any property unless you're getting a minimum of 30% off, like 30% discount, okay? Just because I strongly believe it's going to go down at least 20% next year, minimum. Or maybe not immediately, but it's going to go down. And as you heard, New York and LA has already gone down 5%. Is it possible to manage 2,000 properties? Yes, I know people who have 7,000 properties. So it's possible. Now, again, they're not managing them themselves. They have other people that work for them that manage them, but it's doable. Bitcoin still makes sense. I think we have probably at least a year of climbing. It's going to go up and down, but I think we have at least a year of increase in crypto in general. How is the pandemic affecting Florida specifically? So Florida, Arizona, and Texas is going to be interesting because we have a lot of people that are from other states moving here because they want to get away from all of the rules from, say, New York, New Jersey, Chicago, LA. They're very strict. Where in Florida, Texas, Arizona, we have more freedom. So even though we still have the pandemic issue, you can basically go wherever you want. Restaurants aren't closed. The mall is really not closed. You can still go to the mall. Now, do you have to stay 6 feet apart? Do you have to wear a mask? Do you have to be conscious? Yes. But you really life's just slower. It's not shut down. So it's still nice. You can still go to the beach. You still have all these luxury. I'm still going to the gym. Gym's still open. So, Texas has this thing. Texas says, everyone from LA, you can come. But you can come, but your ideas have to stay in LA. So they want to keep their red state red. They don't want all the blue people coming over and bringing their oh, you got to change. Well, no, Texas is Texas, which I respect them for that. I'm like, yo, that's you. Do you? Do you think using an FHA puts you at risk of being over leveraged? It can. You can buy a property, put down 50% and be over leveraged. Is it very difficult? Yes. Is it possible? Yes. Because over leveraged, some people will say, if you buy $1 million property and you only put down 5%, let's just make believe that's feasible, you're over leveraged. I can argue, no, it's not. I bought my property for $950,000 last year, okay? I put down $150,000 on that deal, $125,000. So I put down what is that, 15%? Some people would say, oh, that's over leveraged. I'm saying it's not. I invested more money into the property, and now the property's worth $3 million. But I only owe $825,000. So would you say I'm over leveraged? So again, it's not a question of how much of a loan did you get. It's the question of how valuable is that property that you bought. That's why they say the most important thing when you're planning to buy a property is know your market, because you make your money in the buy. So even if you bought a property for $100,000 and you got a loan for 100% loan to value, but the property's worth 130, property's worth 150, then you're not over leveraged. You got a bunch of equity there that the person that sold it to you didn't know, or you built enough value yourself. So congratulations. So Richard says, I'm definitely one of them that will only use your source. I'm definitely one of them that will only use your services. Loyalty and trust is earned, not given. Looking to move down to Florida in the next 5 years. Awesome. So we do taxes and mortgages across the country. And just insurance is the only one that we're doing in Florida now, but soon we're going to be doing insurance in New Jersey as well. Lucy says, where are you from, Richard? Oh, okay, you should answer that. I'm thinking the same thing, to move. So yeah, when the pandemic hits, it's a good opportunity to move because property value should be lower and it's a good chance. But at the same time, it's a lot of struggle, because when you move, the other thing with Florida is jobs aren't always as consistent as other areas. So you have to be prepared. All right, let's answer a few more questions. Do you think it will be difficult to BRRRR during the recession that's coming? I'm especially worried about refinancing. So when, for example, now, let's just say the property today is worth $100,000 and it needs $20,000 of work. You need to buy it for like roughly $40,000, $50,000 to make it work, okay? Half price. In a pandemic, that same $100,000 property, well, that is in bad shape, won't end up going for 70, it'll probably end up going for like 40. So, or 30. So there is an opportunity for you to still BRRRR, but the wait period is probably not going to be a 6-month wait period. It's probably going to be a 12-month wait period. So that's why I'm getting as much cash together as possible. And that's why you're like, well, Pascal, you have a lot of money. Why do you want other investors? Because despite I have a good amount of money saved up, it will not be enough compared to how many good deals are going to be out there. I mean, I saw a lot of good deals. And since I think hotels on the water are going to end up being cheap, those are, if we're talking about a $20 million hotel and I'm able to get it for like 5 or 10 million, I still need a lot of money, even though I'm getting it for half price. And then you still need money for remodeling and everything else. And the refinances are going to be, I think, more like 1 to 3 years before you could do a refinance and do cash out. So you have to have enough money to carry you, and that's why you need a lot of partners. It's going to be one of the best opportunities. It's going to be one of the largest wealth transfer opportunities of our lifetime. The question is, what are you going to be on? Are you going to be on the side that makes the wealth, or are you going to be on the side that loses the wealth? That is a person's choice.